Have you ever felt like you're not good enough even when no one said it, you just believed it? Explore how self-doubt is not a reflection of truth, but a distorted voice shaped by fear, failure, or comparison. Use Elon Musk's early struggles, e.g., being bullied, rejected, nearly bankrupt, to show how even the greatest minds face self-doubt. Shift into the idea that the voice of doubt is not your own, it's learned, and it can be unlearned. Give a vivid breakdown of how to identify that voice, challenge it, and begin replacing it with facts and belief. End with the idea, what if you stopped believing every thought you had and started choosing them? Have you ever felt like you're not good enough even though no one ever said it out loud? Maybe it's that quiet voice inside your head that whispers, you're not ready, you're not smart enough, you're just going to fail again. That voice, the one that makes you second guess every move, isn't just annoying, it's dangerous. Because it doesn't just delay your dreams, it can erase them. Self-doubt isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper. Sometimes it's disguised as logic, as caution, or even humility. But make no mistake, it's the enemy of progress. It convinces you to wait, to hold back, to settle. And the scariest part? You start believing it. You begin to mistake fear for truth. But let's get something straight. Just because you think something doesn't make it real. Elon Musk once said, I think it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. That's not just a motivational quote. That's a man who was bullied as a child, rejected by investors, laughed at by the auto industry, and told his rocket company would never make it off the ground. He had every reason to doubt himself, and yet he didn't surrender to that voice. He used it. That voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough? It's not your voice. It's the voice of every failure, every critic, every fear you've ever absorbed. It's your past trying to control your future. But you have the power to question it, to challenge it, to silence it. Imagine this. What if every time you heard self-doubt, you treated it like a false alarm, like an outdated program that no longer serves you? Because that's exactly what it is. Doubt is not who you are. It's just a reflex. One that's been trained into you by rejection, comparison, and fear. And the good news? What's been trained can be retrained. Start paying attention. Notice how that voice shows up. Is it when you're about to take a risk? When you're close to leveling up? That's not a coincidence. Doubt doesn't show up when you're standing still. It shows up right before the leap, because that's when it's scared. Scared of your potential, scared of change, scared that you might actually win. So here's what you do. You don't wait for the doubt to go away. You move forward with it standing right beside you. You hear the voice, you feel the fear, and you take action anyway. That's where the power is. Not in waiting for perfect confidence, but in choosing courage over comfort. Elon Musk didn't build Tesla because he was certain it would succeed. He built it because he believed in something bigger than his fear. He didn't launch SpaceX because he had all the answers. He launched it because he had a question. What if it works? That's the mindset that changes lives. Not, what if I fail? But, what if I don't? You already have everything you need. The intelligence, the creativity, the strength. What you lack isn't ability, it's belief. And belief is a choice. Every single day, you have the opportunity to decide, will I listen to the lie of self-doubt, or will I bet on myself even when it's hard? Rewire your inner voice. When it says, I can't, respond with, watch me. When it says, I'll fail, answer, that's how I'll learn. When it says, I'm not ready, say, neither was anyone who ever did something great. Your mind is powerful, but it's programmable. And if you let doubt run the system, it will infect every decision. But if you start speaking power, if you start feeding belief, confidence, and grit, you'll notice something incredible. Doubt won't disappear overnight, but it will lose its grip. It'll shrink, and eventually, it'll become just another background noise you learn to tune out. Let this be the moment where you stop identifying with your self-doubt. You are not your fear. You are not your past. You are not the voice that tells you to shrink. You are the one who chooses what voice gets to lead. And here's the truth no one tells you. The most successful people in the world still hear that voice, but they don't obey it. They recognize it, smile at it, and move forward anyway. Because they've learned that doubt isn't the signal to stop. It's the signal to begin. So don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for the fear to go away. Don't wait for perfect confidence. Force yourself to move, trust yourself to grow. Silence the lie and make room for the truth. You were never meant to be average. You were never meant to play small. And you don't have to believe everything you think. Now, go do the thing your doubt says you can't and prove it wrong. What if the real reason you're stuck is because you're trying too hard to be perfect? Talk about the myth of perfection and how it fuels self-doubt. Elon Musk doesn't wait for perfect. He launches, learns, and adapts, e.g., the early failures of SpaceX. Discuss how taking action, even messy action, builds momentum and dissolves doubt. Offer a 3-step framework. Start small, stay consistent, and focus on direction, not flawlessness. End with the idea: perfection is a prison. Progress is freedom. What if the real reason you're stuck isn't fear, but perfection? Think about it. How many times have you stopped yourself from starting something just because it wasn't the right time? How many dreams have you put on hold because you didn't feel ready enough, skilled enough, or certain enough? Perfection isn't the standard. It's the excuse. And it's one of the most dangerous masks that self-doubt wears. You see, perfection sounds noble. It sounds like high standards. But in reality, it's fear dressed in a suit. It's fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of not being accepted, all pretending to be ambition. And the more you chase perfect, the more you stand still. Because perfection is a moving target. It's never there. And if you keep waiting to feel perfect before you act, you'll wait your whole life. Elon Musk didn't launch Tesla or SpaceX because the conditions were perfect. He didn't wait until every battery cell was flawless or until every rocket was guaranteed to land. He acted, he launched, he failed, and then he fixed. That's the truth behind real success. It's not about getting it perfect the first time, it's about being bold enough to begin and relentless enough to improve. Self-doubt feeds off delay. It thrives in waiting. The longer you stall, the louder that voice becomes. What if it's not good enough? What if people don't like it? What if you mess up? But the moment you move even imperfectly, that voice loses power. Progress doesn't require perfection, it requires permission. Your permission to begin messy, to try before you're ready, to stumble, to learn, and to rise again. Musk once said, "Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough." That mindset is everything. He doesn't see failure as final, he sees it as feedback. He doesn't chase flawlessness, he chases progress. That's why he's built some of the most disruptive companies in the world, while others were still debating version 1. You don't need to be perfect to start. You need to start to get better. You need to move to build confidence. You need to act to gather evidence that you can. Waiting doesn't make you better, it makes you doubt more. And here's something powerful. When you release the need to be perfect, you unlock something greater: authenticity. And authenticity builds connection, trust, and impact. People don't connect with perfect. They connect with real, they connect with effort, they connect with courage. So instead of asking, "Is this perfect yet?" ask, "Is this true to my vision?" Instead of asking, "What will people think?" ask, "What will I regret if I don't try?" Because when you shift the question, you shift the pressure. And when the pressure shifts, so does your power. Let's get practical. You want to overcome self-doubt? Set a deadline and launch something even if it's 70% done. Send the email, record the video, pitch the idea. Build the prototype. Don't let doubt talk you into overthinking. Action silences doubt like nothing else. Here's a truth that might sting a little. The pursuit of perfection is often just disguised procrastination. And procrastination is a thief. It steals time. It steals growth. And most of all, it steals the belief that you're capable. Remember this: every expert was once a beginner. Every master was once unsure. Every powerful person you admire today has a long trail of imperfect attempts behind them. The difference? They moved. They kept going. They chose progress over paralysis. So ask yourself, are you holding yourself back because you actually can't, or because you don't want to risk being imperfect? And if the answer is the second good, that means you have control. That means you can change it. Elon Musk didn't wait for the world to believe in his ideas. He moved when people laughed, when people criticized, when people predicted failure. He knew that progress speaks louder than perfection. That done is better than delayed. That momentum matters more than applause. You are capable of more than you know. But you'll never discover it if you keep waiting for the moment you feel just right. That moment doesn't come. You create it by acting through the uncertainty, by pushing through the doubt, by doing it before you feel ready. And when you do, something incredible happens. The fear starts to fade, the confidence starts to grow, not because you waited to feel ready, but because you proved to yourself that you didn't need to be. You just needed to move. So, stop chasing perfect. Start chasing possible. You'll never get it exactly right, but you'll get better. You'll evolve. You'll learn faster than you thought you could. And eventually, you'll look back and realize that perfection was never the goal progress was. Force yourself to let go of the illusion. Choose movement over mastery. Choose momentum over doubt. Because perfection is an illusion, but your potential? That's very, very real. The most powerful stories are not the ones we read, but the ones we repeat in our minds. Dive into the inner narrative, the story people tell themselves about who they are, what they can do, and what's possible. Self-doubt lives in stories like, I always mess up, or I'm not the kind of person who succeeds. Use Elon Musk's example of reframing failure as data and iteration. Teach viewers how to identify limiting narratives and replace them with new ones. Introduce the concept of identity scripting, creating a script of who you choose to be and living by it. The most powerful stories in the world are not written in books. They're written in your mind on repeat every single day. And the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you're capable of will either become your prison or your power. Think about this. What's your story? Not the one you tell others, the one you whisper to yourself when no one's listening. Is it a story of strength or a story of limits? Does it start with possibility or with fear? Self-doubt is often born from the stories we've repeated for years. Stories like, I always mess things up. I've never been good at this. People like me don't succeed. These aren't facts, they're narratives. And if you're not careful, they become your reality. Elon Musk isn't just a genius engineer or a billionaire entrepreneur. He's a storyteller not just to the world, but to himself. When others saw failure, he told himself a different story. One where failure was fuel, one where disruption was destiny. He rewrote the script everyone else believed, and then he lived it. So, here's the truth. If you want to overcome self-doubt, you must start with your internal script. You have to rewrite the narrative you've been living inside for years. Because most people don't fail because of a lack of talent. They fail because they believe the wrong story about who they are. Let's break this down. When something doesn't go right, your brain creates a meaning. If you're rejected, your story might be, I'm not worthy. If you fail at a goal, the story becomes, I always fail. But those meanings aren't truth. They're conclusions, and conclusions can be rewritten. You have to become the author of your identity. And authors don't just report the past, they shape the future. That means deciding how you want to see yourself, speak to yourself, and believe about yourself. Because your self-image is the root of your self-belief. Here's a powerful exercise. Think of a limiting belief you carry. Now ask, who gave me this belief? A teacher? A parent? Society? Then ask, is it actually true? And finally, ask, what would I do if I didn't believe this? That's the real you, not the version shaped by fear, but the one driven by possibility. Elon Musk doesn't let current reality define future vision. He once said, I think it's possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. That's not just inspiration, that's instruction. You choose. You decide who you are by what you repeat and what you act on. Let's make it practical. Step 1. Identify the lie, the story that plays in your head whenever you face a challenge. Maybe it's, I'm not smart enough, or I'm always behind. Write it down. Step 2. Replace the script. What's a better version? Not a delusion, a truth you can grow into. Turn I always fail into every failure is fuel. I learn fast. Turn I'm not ready into I grow by doing hard things. Step 3. Repeat it like it's your mantra. Daily, out loud, on paper, in moments of pressure. You have to speak the new story until it drowns out the old one. And don't wait until you feel confident. Rewriting your narrative happens before the belief kicks in. You have to declare it before you fully feel it. That's how your brain rewires. That's how the new story takes root. Musk didn't feel like a success when his first rockets exploded. But he held on to the bigger narrative that those failures were stepping stones to something greater. He didn't abandon the story. He edited it. He improved it. He kept writing even when the world mocked the plot. That's what you need to do. Be the author of your life. Stop letting past pain hold the pen. Stop letting fear write your next move. Grab the script, rewrite the role, and live into the version of yourself that's already waiting on the other side of belief. Because when you shift the story, everything changes. Your posture changes, your choices change, your energy changes. You stop hiding and start showing up. You stop apologizing for who you are and start building who you want to become. So the next time self-doubt creeps in, pause. Listen, ask, is this part of the story I want to keep telling? If not, rewrite it. Refuse to keep repeating a script that keeps you small. Replace it with the one that sets you free. And here's the final truth. You're not stuck. You're just stuck in a story. And the good news is, you hold the pen. You always have. So write the story where you win, where you rise, where you walk into every room, every challenge, every opportunity with the quiet fire of someone who knows, I'm not who I was, I'm who I choose to become. If your brain was a machine, would you let it run on autopilot, or would you reprogram it? Discuss the power of repetition, mindset conditioning, and mental habits. Elon Musk treats problems logically, often removing emotion and drama from the equation. Share how training your thoughts like code debugging negative patterns and installing positive, rational beliefs can override doubt. Include daily habits like affirmations, mental modeling, and visualization. Build the idea that self-doubt is a glitch, not a design. You can rewrite the system. What if your brain was a machine and every thought you had was just a line of code? Would you let that code run unchecked, or would you step in and reprogram it? Because here's the truth. Your mind is powerful, but it's not perfect. It's trained. It's conditioned. And if you don't take control of that programming, it will run on autopilot, replaying the same fears, the same doubts, and the same limitations every day like background software. Self-doubt is not a glitch. It's a default setting. But just like software, it can be rewritten. Most people don't realize this. They assume their thoughts are facts. That if their mind says, you're not good enough, or this is too hard, it must be true. But your brain isn't interested in your growth, it's interested in your safety. It's built for survival, not success. And self-doubt? That's just your brain's way of trying to protect you from risk, from change, from the unknown. But Elon Musk doesn't build for safety. He builds for possibility. He doesn't let fear-based thinking limit innovation. He challenges assumptions. He rewrites rules. And most importantly, he controls the code running in his mind. He once said, you should take the approach that you're wrong. Your goal is to be less wrong. That's not just about engineering, it's about mindset. He assumes that his current thinking is incomplete, and he works relentlessly to improve it. That's the key to overcoming self-doubt. You don't trust every thought. You test it, you debug it, you update it. So how do you do that? First, awareness. You can't rewire what you don't recognize. Start listening to your self-talk. What do you say to yourself when you fail, when you're under pressure, when you're trying something new? Is it empowering or limiting? Second, question the thought. If you think, I'm not smart enough for this, ask, says who? Where did that idea come from? What's the evidence? Who would you be without that belief? Third, reframe the thought like rewriting code. Instead of, I can't handle this, say, this is a challenge I'm learning to navigate. Instead of, I always mess things up, say, I'm figuring it out faster every time. These aren't lies. They're upgraded commands, and your brain follows what you repeat. That's how reprogramming works. Not in one grand moment of inspiration, but in the small, daily decision to override doubt with direction. Think of it like training an AI model. If you keep feeding it garbage data, fear, failure, limitation, it will give you garbage output. But if you feed it clarity, repetition, belief, and strategy, the model improves. The same goes for your mind. You become what you repeatedly input. Musk didn't learn rocket science by chance. He devoured books. He asked endless questions. He trained his mind with precision. And when he hit failure after failure, he didn't crumble. He recalculated. That's what mindset mastery looks like. Not perfection, but persistence. So build your mental operating system. Set up daily practices that reinforce strength over doubt. Journaling, affirmations, visualizations, reflective questions. Even 5 minutes a day can shift your internal world. And when you shift that, everything external begins to follow. Here's a powerful practice. Every time you catch a self-doubt thought, write it down. Then write the empowering version right next to it. Treat it like debugging code, line by line, doubt by doubt. You'll start to see just how much of your thinking is based on old patterns, not reality. The more you practice, the stronger the new code becomes. Your default settings change. You stop reacting from fear and start acting from belief. And that's when the breakthroughs come. You don't need a perfect mind to succeed. You need a trained one. You need to be the architect of your own mental system, not just a user of it. Because every great innovation, every leap forward, begins in the mind of someone who chose to think differently on purpose. So ask yourself, what thoughts are running your life right now? Are they pushing you forward or holding you back? Are they based in fear or in truth? And if they're not helping you, then it's time to rewrite the code. You are not your past programming. You are not your doubts. You are not the voice that says you can't. You are the one who writes the commands. You are the one who decides the direction. You are the one who builds thought by thought, habit by habit, day by day. And if Elon Musk can rewire his thinking to take on the auto industry, space travel, and artificial intelligence, then you can rewire your thinking to take on your next challenge. So don't just react, reprogram. Don't just think better. Train your mind like a machine, because your mind is the most powerful tool you'll ever own. What if fear didn't mean stop but go? Show how fear often points to growth, not danger. Self-doubt is strongest right before breakthrough. Elon Musk chose risk when others backed down, betting everything on SpaceX and Tesla. Teach viewers to stop running from fear and instead lean into it. Include a practical fear map exercise. Identify fear, label it, trace its root, take action anyway. Frame it like this: fear is not the enemy, stagnation is. What if fear didn't mean stop but go? What if the thing you're most afraid of is the very thing you're meant to face? Not to punish you, but to unlock your next level. You've been taught that fear is a red light, a sign to turn back, to play it safe, to stay where it's comfortable. But the truth? Fear is not a wall, it's a compass. It points you to the exact direction where your growth lives. Self-doubt feeds off fear. It waits for the moment when you want to move forward, and then whispers, what if you fail? What if you get embarrassed? What if you lose everything? And that's when most people stop. But the difference between those who break through and those who break down isn't the absence of fear, it's how they respond to it. Elon Musk has never been without fear, but he never lets fear make the final decision. When he launched SpaceX, the entire aerospace community laughed. When Tesla was on the brink of bankruptcy, he didn't back down. He leaned in. Not because he was fearless, but because he understood something most people don't. Fear is part of the process. It's not a sign you should quit. It's a sign you're getting closer to something important. When you avoid fear, you also avoid growth. When you chase safety, you stay small. But when you face fear head on, you unlock confidence, creativity, and courage you didn't even know you had. Let's be clear. The goal isn't to be fearless. The goal is to act anyway, to feel the resistance and move through it, to stop asking, what if this goes wrong? And start asking, what if this is exactly what I need? Fear can be your guide, but only if you learn how to use it. Here's how you flip the switch. Step 1, identify the fear. Don't run from it, don't numb it, sit with it. Write it down. I'm afraid people will judge me. I'm afraid I'll fail. I'm afraid I'm not enough. Step 2, trace the root. Where did this fear begin? Was it a comment someone made? A failure from your past? A moment you never healed from? Most fear isn't logical, it's emotional. And when you understand the root, it loses its grip. Step 3, move anyway. Take one small step toward the thing that scares you. Make the call, launch the project, post the video, have the conversation. You don't need to leap. You just need to move. Because momentum kills fear faster than confidence ever could. Every time you take action in the face of fear, you're teaching your brain something powerful. I'm not controlled by what scares me. I use it. I grow through it. I transform with it. That's how Elon Musk operates. When people ask him how he handles risk, he doesn't deny the danger. He just doesn't overvalue it. He evaluates the downside, prepares for it, and then goes all in anyway. Because the upside of purpose will always outweigh the comfort of safety. You have that same power. The voice in your head that says, "I can't handle this," is lying. You've already handled worse. The fear that says, "You're not ready," is an illusion. Readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. So here's a truth most people never hear. Fear is not a weakness, it's energy. And when you stop letting it paralyze you, it starts to fuel you. Think of every moment in your life where you felt proud, truly proud. Was fear present? Probably. But so was courage, so was action. That's how breakthroughs are born. Not in the absence of fear, but in spite of it. So next time that anxiety creeps in, when your chest tightens, your thoughts race, your hands shake, don't pull back. Push forward. Tell yourself, this is the signal. I'm close. I'm growing. I'm ready. Because you are ready. You've been ready. You just need to stop mistaking fear for failure. It's not. It's feedback. It's your edge. And the more you lean into it, the more powerful you become. Elon Musk bet everything on ideas that the world told him were impossible. Not because he wasn't scared, but because he refused to let fear decide his future. So what if you did the same? What if, instead of shrinking when fear showed up, you smiled? What if you learned to say, "This is it. This is the direction. If I'm scared, that means I'm alive. That means I care. That means I'm on the edge of something big." That's how you overcome self-doubt. You stop negotiating with fear. You stop waiting for comfort. You force yourself forward with trembling hands, with uncertain steps, with full commitment. Because your dreams don't need you to be fearless. They just need you to be brave. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you earn one rep at a time. Unpack the neuroscience of confidence. Repetition builds competence, and competence builds belief. Musk didn't know how to build rockets at first. He read books, made mistakes, kept going. Teach how daily effort, learning, and reflection build unshakable confidence over time. Create a confidence loop model. Try, learn, improve, repeat. Emphasize, you don't wait for confidence. You create it. What if I told you that your self-doubt isn't a permanent part of who you are, but a pattern you've repeated so often, it feels like the truth? That voice that whispers, "You can't," didn't come from nowhere. It was shaped by experiences, failures, rejections, and fears. But here's the good news. Anything learned can be unlearned. And in this chapter, we're going to break the cycle that keeps you doubting yourself and build a new one rooted in truth, discipline, and confidence. Self-doubt thrives in uncertainty. The less clarity you have, the louder the doubts become. But when you gain direction, when you decide where you're going and why, it starts to lose power. Elon Musk has spoken often about the clarity of his mission being a shield against fear. When your purpose is bigger than your ego, you stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What will happen if I don't try?" That mental shift is everything. Let's get one thing straight. You don't need permission to be great. Most people wait for someone else to validate their dreams, to tell them they're good enough, smart enough, talented enough. But the truth is, no one's coming to hand you the green light. Confidence is not granted, it's generated. And the more you act despite fear, the more you build the evidence that you can trust yourself. Elon didn't create Tesla or SpaceX because he was fearless. He moved forward despite fear. Doubt showed up, but it didn't get to vote. That's what we all must learn. You don't have to erase every ounce of self-doubt before you move. You just have to stop letting it steer the wheel. Here's a practical way to break that pattern. Catch your self-doubt in the moment. Literally pause and ask yourself, is this fear speaking or is this truth? Often, the stories we tell ourselves are outdated narratives based on old wounds or moments that went wrong. But you're not that person anymore. You're growing, learning, and evolving. It's time your inner voice catches up with who you're becoming, not who you used to be. Now, take it a step further, rewrite the narrative. When you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," say instead, "I'm learning how to do this." When your brain says, "I'm not good enough," say, "I'm getting better every day." That's not lying to yourself, that's aligning with your potential. Your brain believes what it hears most. So feed it courage, not criticism. Discipline is also a massive weapon in overcoming self-doubt. Why? Because when you consistently do the hard thing, your brain starts to believe you can. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, whether that's finishing a workout, staying committed to a project, or speaking up when you're scared, you send a message to your subconscious, I am someone who follows through. Over time, that belief becomes stronger than any doubt. And finally, surround yourself with environments that reinforce belief, not fear. If you're always around people who play small, doubt will feel normal. But if you put yourself in rooms where people are taking risks, dreaming big and failing forward suddenly, your own doubts don't feel so powerful. You see that courage is messy and progress is possible, even with fear in the mix. You are not your doubt. You are the awareness behind it. And when you learn to stop believing everything that fear says, a whole new version of you begins to emerge, one who acts with purpose, speaks with power, and moves with belief. That version of you, that's the real you. And they've been waiting for this moment to break free. What if your biggest self-doubt doesn't even belong to you? Talk about how external voices, critics, social media, family expectations implant doubt. Elon Musk was ridiculed for years, yet he continued. Teach how to filter noise, protect focus, and reconnect with personal truth. Include a simple tool, the inner circle filter. Whose opinions actually matter? Build emotional armor. The more you listen to others, the less you hear yourself. Close with, your destiny is too loud to be drowned by other people's doubts. Have you ever noticed that the most successful people aren't always the smartest, richest, or most talented? What they are consistently is relentless. While the world is busy overthinking, doubting, or waiting for the perfect time, they are moving, one step at a time, one uncomfortable action after another. That's not luck, that's a mindset. And if you want to change your life, it's time to adopt it. Elon Musk once said, if something is important enough, even if the odds are against you, you should still do it. Let that sink in. Most people stop at the first sign of resistance when things get hard, when progress feels invisible, or when failure shows up. But those who win don't stop. They expect resistance. They understand that discomfort is not the enemy, it's the currency of growth. Relentlessness isn't about having all the answers, it's about moving forward anyway. It's the refusal to quit, even when you're tired, even when no one claps for you, even when it feels like everything is stacked against you. That kind of mental stamina isn't born, it's built. And it's built in the small moments, the silent hours, the daily decision to show up whether you feel like it or not. Here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. Motivation is fleeting. It's a spark, not a strategy. If you rely on motivation, you'll show up only on the good days. But if you rely on commitment, you'll show up regardless of how you feel. That's what separates amateurs from professionals. Emotions don't dictate action, values do. This is where identity comes in. You have to start seeing yourself not just as someone who wants to succeed, but as someone who doesn't stop. Tell yourself, I am the type of person who finishes what I start. Repeat that. Live that. Because the moment your identity aligns with persistence, you become unstoppable. Think of it like this. Every time you push through when it's hard, you build self-respect. Every time you refuse to quit, you send a signal to your brain that you can trust yourself. That's how confidence is built, not by praise or results, but by perseverance. And let's not forget, failure is part of the process. Elon Musk didn't build SpaceX without crashing rockets. He didn't build Tesla without nearly going bankrupt. But what did he do when the world doubted him? He stayed in the fight, because for him, the mission mattered more than his ego. And that's what you need to ask yourself. Is your dream bigger than your fear? Is your purpose stronger than your pain? If the answer is yes, then don't stop. Keep building, keep moving. Even if it's slow, even if you're tired, especially when it's hard. Because the world doesn't need more people who start strong and fizzle out. It needs people who refuse to be stopped. People who understand that discipline is greater than desire. That action is louder than excuses. That legacy is built not in a moment of motivation, but in a lifetime of relentless forward motion. So today, ask yourself, what would the relentless version of me do? Then do that. Again and again. Because that's how greatness is built, not in a burst of effort, but in the quiet decision to never give up. The most successful people don't feel ready, they act anyway. Demolish the myth of being ready. Show that action is what makes you ready. Elon Musk stepped into unknown fields with boldness, not because he had all the answers, but because he had questions and a willingness to act. Share how courage is built in movement, not comfort. Include a mindset shift: imperfect action, perfect hesitation. Leave viewers with this: stop waiting to feel fearless. Fear is part of the ride. What if the reason you haven't reached your full potential isn't because you're not capable, but because you keep negotiating with your weakness? Every day, you're in a silent conversation with yourself, and that voice, it either builds you or breaks you. Elon Musk doesn't entertain doubt the way most people do. He doesn't sit around asking, "What if I fail?" Instead, he asks, "What must I do to make this work?" That shift in language, it's the difference between progress and paralysis. Most people wait for the perfect moment. They think they need to feel inspired, be well-rested, have support from others, or have all the steps figured out. But the truth? Waiting is just fear in disguise. Growth never happens in comfort, and excellence never waits for permission. You must stop giving your feelings the steering wheel, because your feelings will lie to you. They'll tell you to stay in bed when you need to rise. They'll whisper that you're not ready when you've already delayed too long. They'll feed you doubt when what you need is decisiveness. Elon Musk isn't superhuman. He's simply mastered the art of pushing forward regardless of emotion. When he was working 100-hour weeks between Tesla and SpaceX, it wasn't because he felt like it. It was because the mission mattered more than the moment. And that's your challenge. Detach your identity from how you feel and anchor it to who you want to become. You want mental toughness? Then you have to train it like a muscle. Every time you act when it's hard, you grow. Every time you resist the easy path, you evolve. The gym of your mind is built with reps of resilience. No shortcuts, no excuses. Start asking yourself powerful questions. Not, "Why is this happening to me?" but "How can I grow from this?" Not, "What if I fail?" but "What if I learn something so valuable that it transforms my life?" Not, "When will it get easier?" but "How can I become stronger?" And here's a truth few people will admit. Most limits are self-imposed. You think you're stuck? No, you're just choosing not to move. You think you're tired? No, you've just trained yourself to quit at 40%. Elon said, "I think it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary." The key word? Choose. You're one decision away from flipping your mindset, from acting like a victim to behaving like a force of nature, from telling yourself stories about your past to writing new ones with your actions. Every time you choose growth over comfort, courage over doubt, discipline over distraction, you rewire your identity. You become the version of yourself that doesn't flinch when it gets hard. That doesn't quit just because it's uncomfortable. That doesn't fear failure because you know you will rise again. So stop making deals with your weakness. No more 5 more minutes. No more "I'll start tomorrow." No more giving your future away to the comfort of now. Stand up, lock in, and remind yourself, I am not here to be average. I am here to be great. What if your lowest moment could become your greatest source of power? Talk about transforming pain, rejection, and failure into fuel. Musk's companies nearly collapsed. He was told he was crazy, and yet pain became clarity. Teach viewers how to reframe setbacks as signals. Use journaling, reframing questions, and emotional alchemy techniques. Build a visual metaphor. Pain is not a wall. It's a ladder if you learn how to climb it. What if every distraction you give in to is costing you your future? Think about that. Every time you scroll instead of study, every time you procrastinate instead of prepare, every time you say, "I'll do it later," you're not just wasting minutes. You're trading your destiny for dopamine. Elon Musk didn't build SpaceX or Tesla by being easily distracted. He built them by doing what needed to be done even when no one believed in him, even when it was boring, even when it was hard. He understood something that most people ignore. Focus is a superpower. The world today is noisy. Notifications, news, gossip, opinions, everyone wants your attention. But if you let the world decide what you focus on, you'll spend your life building someone else's dream instead of your own. The winners in life are not the smartest, they're the most disciplined. You want to change your life? Start by protecting your attention like it's gold, because it is. When Elon is working on a new technology or mission, he doesn't multitask. He goes deep, 5-hour stretches, no distractions, laser focused. That's why he can innovate faster than entire industries. He doesn't wait to feel motivated. He sets the goal, removes all distractions, and executes relentlessly. And here's a brutal truth. Your phone is not your friend. It's a tool. Use it wisely, or it will use you. Every time you pick up your phone without intention, you're giving away power. Every time you scroll through meaningless content, you're watering weeds in your mind. You cannot plant seeds of greatness while consuming junk. You need silence to think, solitude to plan, focus to build. Make a commitment today. No more passive living. Delete the apps that waste your time. Set time blocks for deep work. Say no to anything that doesn't move you closer to your purpose. Turn distraction into discipline and discipline into momentum. And remember this, you don't get what you want in life. You get what you're committed to. The question is, are you committed to convenience or committed to greatness? Because you can't have both. Start treating your attention like a currency. Invest it only in things that bring you closer to the life you want. Every focused hour compounds. Every disciplined day adds up. Every sacrifice now sets you up for success later. When Elon Musk was sleeping on the factory floor, he wasn't trying to be comfortable. He was trying to win. And winning requires focus. Not for a week, not for a month, but for as long as it takes. So the next time you reach for your phone, ask yourself, is this helping me build my vision, or is this helping me escape it? You don't need more time. You need more focus. Because once you master focus, you'll become unstoppable. There's one person you'll spend every second of your life with. Shouldn't you learn to trust them? Close the video powerfully. Self-doubt crumbles in the face of self-trust. Elon Musk has made bold bets, not just on companies, but on his own mind. Share how to build inner trust through aligned actions, keeping promises to yourself, and making decisions from your future self's perspective. End with a call to courage. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do next? Now go do it anyway. Imagine what your life would look like if you finally believed in yourself not just for a moment, but every single day. What if self-doubt didn't control your choices anymore? What if you woke up energized, confident, and ready to tackle anything because you knew deep down you had what it takes? This isn't a fantasy. It's a choice. And it's one Elon Musk makes every day. Despite the pressure, the critics, and the setbacks, he chooses belief over doubt. Because belief is a muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. Overcoming self-doubt isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up. It's about deciding that your dreams are bigger than your fears, that your purpose is louder than your uncertainty. Every time you push past doubt, you build a new layer of confidence. Every risk you take expands your comfort zone. Every failure you face becomes a stepping stone, not a tombstone. Your future self is waiting for you, the version of you who has silenced the inner critic, who moves with clarity, courage, and conviction. That version isn't out of reach. They're created with the decisions you make right now. Elon Musk said, "Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up." That's the mindset that separates dreamers from doers. The willingness to keep going when the path is uncertain, when the nights are long, and when the doubts scream the loudest. You already have everything you need inside you. The creativity, the strength, the resilience, it's all there. The missing piece? Trust. Trust that you can learn, adapt, and grow. Trust that setbacks aren't the end, but the beginning of something greater. Trust that your worth isn't tied to what others think, but to what you believe. So, take a deep breath and commit. Commit to yourself, to your vision, to your purpose. Force yourself to move forward even when it's uncomfortable. Because on the other side of that discomfort is freedom. Freedom from doubt. Freedom to create. Freedom to live a life without limits. Remember, self-doubt is just a story you've told yourself. And stories can be rewritten. Today is your chance to write a new chapter 1 where you are fearless, unstoppable, and fully alive. Go on. Step into your power. The world is waiting for you.